morning to you. Matt Thompson alongside Peter Ryan here at AFL Media at Docklands, and we're about to be joined by the new Chief Executive of the Australian Football League, Gill McLachlan. The announcement was made this morning by Mike Fitzpatrick, the Chairman of the League, in a news conference at AFL House, and Andrew Dimitri will officially depart League headquarters on June the 5th. Gill McLachlan, welcome to AFL.com.au. Congratulations.
Thanks, Matt, very much.
This must be just an overwhelmingly proud moment for you.
I am. I'm very proud. And I'm honoured and I'm privileged. It's an extraordinary responsibility I have leading this game and this code. And I'm very thankful to Mike and the Commission for giving it to me. But yeah, I'm very pleased and I'm honoured. It's
been a long time coming. Is there a sense of relief as well?
There is. I have to say the last couple of days have been, you know, there was long interviews on Monday and then sort of a level of angst about that, and then a lot to do over the last 24 hours. So and there's still, you know, a lot of media and stuff to do today. I'm sure tonight I'm going to have dinner with the family, and I think there'll be a bit of relief then.
We've got a lot of questions for you. Your family, though, just on a personal note, it's going to be big for them as well because they're not going to necessarily see a lot of you. Was it a family decision?
I think it has to be if you're going to put yourself out in a public role. And a very high-profile role like this, and a chief executive position with all the demands that brings, then I think it has to be owned by you as much, by your family as much as you. And I've got have a great partnership with my wife, and the kids didn't have much say; they're a bit too young. But we talked about it. But she's fully supportive.
What do you think the main challenge is? Obviously, the state of the game. Let's talk about that first on field. Where do you see the game now and heading?
Well, it's an interesting question, but the game always evolves, and it looks different now than it did 5 years ago and did 10 years ago. And it looks, and I said in the press conference, I spoke to Mike about it when he was playing in the 70s. There was guys 20 years older than him who were promoting what it looked like then. There's always been, it evolves, and there's always been good games. There's always been bad games. There's a challenge for us now that the bad games are scrutinised and broadcast and shown in a way they never were. We have work to do. There is challenges with the style of the game. There's challenges beyond that. There's challenges around making sure we have the best people playing the game, because we've got a field full of incredible athletes. They do certain things. We need to make sure that our weaker clubs, lesser clubs, are built up so they can invest in their footy department, so they're competitive. So it's not just the rules and the style, it's everything about making sure we have the most incredible spectacle on field. And you know, yes, I do think there's been some poor games this year, but if you looked at the last weekend, there was the incredible spectacle in Adelaide with those teams and the speed and the endurance and the physicality of Geelong and Port Adelaide in front of 50,000 people, and similarly on Anzac Day in front of 90. And you know, and the speed of the Carlton comeback win against West Coast, it's been incredible football.
Is there anything specifically you don't like about the game that you think you could improve quickly?
I mean, obviously, when it's highly congested, people don't like looking at that, I think, generally. But I don't see that as this problem that won't be worked through. I think when the play is slow and non-continuous, I don't think people like that. But the good teams are never slow and non-continuous. They're teams that are developing and teaching their kids to play and trying to get confidence in them. So I guess I accept that there's at a moment in time on one weekend there's some poor games and some challenging football. But I just know how it evolves. And I know the game evolves and teams evolve, and you know, at any given point in time there's just some incredible football.
The focus on the fans, there's so much talk about what they're going through at the moment, the cost of going to the footy, from a ticket to a bucket of chips to a bottle of Coke. Is that something that the AFL really needs to make a high priority? It's talked about so much now.
Yeah, it is. It's been heightened by our change in our ticketing strategy with variable pricing, which is poorly communicated, and we're going to address that. The fan is at the centre of our priorities, and it's not just total cost, whether it's ticket prices or food and beverage or everything else. It's scheduling, it's everything that's potentially an encumbrance to people going to the footy, and we'll be addressing that head on.
So that includes scheduling games, for example, on a Sunday night where it's difficult to get to the footy with a family. Is that something that, with the next TV rights negotiations coming up, that you're going to think about and make that a factor when you're weighing up
And that's why we trialled those games this year, Matt. We have to have an eye to the future. If you look back, Friday nights were regarded as incredibly controversial, and how could you be moving Friday night? And that's now the biggest slot. So I think you have to try things and look at things and evolve, but you also then have to look at the feedback and look at the challenges. And we've quite deliberately trialled Sunday nights. We'll consolidate at the end of the season, see where we're at, and that'll inform our view about what the next broadcast deal looks like.
On the next broadcast deal, just quickly, Pete, what's it going to look like in terms of that? Because the media is changing, the landscape is changing. Do you think that the next TV rights deal is going to look different to the one that we're currently in?
Yeah, I do. The evolution in the media space, with the digital era and the consolidation that's going on, it will inevitably look different. I think it'll probably be the first deal where the digital rights, or they used to be called the new media rights, are actually completely integrated with the traditional media rights. I think we're going to have a different set of businesses competing for our rights. So I think it will inevitably look different.
Do you think that the supporter of every club has a realistic, or every club has a realistic chance of winning the premiership as it stands now?
I think that's one of our challenges. I think that, I certainly hope so, but I think there are challenges, and I think we have to continue to work with our less strong clubs to do everything we can do to build them up. And there's a lot of things in that. There's partnering with them. There's the competitive balance. There is working on match returns, working on their structural issues. So, I think they do if they're well managed, but there's some structural challenges we've got to work on with the clubs.
Under your leadership, do you think the AFL have more involvement in the management of those clubs?
I don't want to be sitting here with our guys managing clubs. We want the chairman and the boards and the chief executive clubs managing clubs. But what we'll be doing is to help them through that process, help them straighten them up if we think there's some challenging things going on, and help them with the resourcing and the IP and stuff they need to be great clubs.
Speaking of executives, how does the AFL executive change now with your move? Are you going to make any internal changes to the way that's structured?
I think inevitably there'll be change. It won't happen immediately. I think with Andrew leaving and me moving into a different role, there'll be some gaps we need to address. And I think we've got things we want to do going forward that are different than we've done in the past, and you'll require different competencies and different skill sets to do that.
Is free agency a positive as it's working now for the game?
I don't think it's a negative at the moment. I think we'll have to let it play out. I think if we can work with the clubs through competitive balance and others, and we can make them attractive places for agents to go, I actually think it's a really helpful thing to get clubs who are poorer on field better quicker. If free agency means that all the best players keep going to the best clubs, that's a problem. So it's incumbent on us to continue to work with the lesser clubs so they're better clubs and better homes for players.
Does the AFL industry have enough quality people? I mean, it's been an issue that's been discussed, some clubs struggling to find CEOs, finding senior coaches. How do you address that issue?
Yeah, I think we need more pathways for talented people to come into our industry, and we need better development of the people within there. I think that's a real challenge for us, and it's something that is going to be a priority for the team.
Well, we're almost out of time, Gill. We do want to know, though, when you went into the commission meeting and had to sit down for the job interview, did they get you to practice doing the Brownlow votes in front of them? I mean, how integral is that? That's going to be when you're right in the spotlight.
I didn't have to do that. I'm sure they were sort of thinking about that. Flippant question, but I'm sure that in their mind, how you present and how you speak is something that they assess your candidacy on. So I'll take some lessons from you, Maddie, and hopefully...
How do you say Robin Nahas?
No, I don't think it'll be as sort of pronounced and as long as Andrew's.
Are you looking forward to that part of it, though? I mean, that is going to be... that was always one of Andrew's biggest nights of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be as comfortable as Andrew was in that role. I think he really relished the Brownlow votes. The public side of it and the speaking, whether it's the Brownlow votes or anything else, for me, I don't look forward to it and I don't fear it. It's part of it and I'm comfortable with that.
Well, Gill, we really appreciate your time. Congratulations. It's going to be a huge challenge, and who knows how long the journey will last, but we wish you the very best.
Thanks, Penny. Thanks, Pete. Cheers.
Gill and McLaughlin with us here, the new Chief Executive of the Australian Football League. My thanks to Peter Ryan, and for everyone else who's joined us as part of our coverage today behind the scenes. I'm Matt Thompson from AFL.com.au. For now, it's goodbye.